And welcome to the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Once again, if you don't already know, this is the sports show where we think we know what we're talking about, but it's quite evident we don't know shit. My name is Emilio Bucks, and joining me, as usual, this week is the lady of the house, Miss Kristen Petit.
Hello.
And also rounding out the trio, joining us as well is the notorious T. Nick.
What's up?
Okay. And, before we even get into that travesty that we saw on Sunday, I'm just trying to block that shit out of my head, obviously. But let's just get right to our special guest that we have this week. We have somebody, a very, I call all our guests special guests, but like this guy is going to be a great interview, going to be a great conversation. Waiting to hear some stories and some insight, and let's get right to it. Joining us tonight is he's a former NFL player, former running back, but he refers to himself as a running black. Had a stint with the Cleveland Browns. All around really good guy. Side note, he happens to be Walter Payton's brother. Please give a warm clubhouse welcome to Mr. Eddie Payton.
Yeah.
How you doing tonight, Coach?
Just make the check, I pay for the cash.
Right on. So how you doing tonight, Coach?
Today is a great day in the neighborhood, and I'm gonna try to get serious here, but I am happy to be able to make time, and Torrance work with me to get me on. I've heard great things about your program, and hopefully I won't change that rating.
Hey man, look, you can only help us. So
Right.
Don't.
We talking? There's only one way for you to go.
Exactly.
I need your help, Coach. I need your help.
We need some help over in these parts, so it's all good. Hey man, so I just want to open up, talking about you a little bit. Like, what has your life been like? I know you've been retired for some years, but what takes up your time these days? Where are you living? What are you involved in?
Well, I try to stay in my lane and fly beneath the radar, and I don't go in no place where there's more than 5 African Americans who may know the virus. So other than that, I'm having a pretty good time.
Right on. I love to hear that. And now I know you're coaching, doing some coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I retired 3 years ago as the winningest coach in Southwestern Athletic Conference history in any sport. I was there for 31 years, and we won 26 SWAC championships and broke the NCAA color barrier for HBCU universities in the game of golf. We were the first black college to qualify in the men's division, and 2 years later, we were the first black college to qualify in the women's division.
Wow, that is amazing. I got to throw up another round of applause for that.
Man.
That is very
man. That is amazing.
Yeah, you keep.
You know what? It's amazing what you can do if you get good kids, get them working for one singular cause, and stay out of their way.
And that's not to take anything away from your.
Doing in Alabama all these years.
What? Say again.
That's what Nick Saban's been doing at Alabama all these years. Get the best athletes and try to stay out of their way.
Just let them do what they do.
Do what they're supposed to do.
So how did you get into coaching golf and then at your alma mater?
Well, I was lucky to be raised on a golf course. My mother ran the concession stands on the weekend and couldn't afford a babysitter. So she took me to the golf course with her on Saturday and Sundays, and the golf pro felt sorry for her after taking one look at me. And he said, I'll take care of him as long as he stay in the back and keep his mouth shut. And he taught me how to caddy. And he gave me a guy who was an elderly gentleman who taught me to respect the game, to admire people who played well, and try to emulate the people who played best.
So you said you grew up on a golf course. Now we're talking about Mississippi.
That's right, South Mississippi to be exact.
So deep South.
Deep South.
On a golf course. I mean, you know, hey, we can run into problems on the golf course now, but so like, and it's amazing that you had somebody that was still willing to mentor you, and you know, and you were able to take advantage of that. That's awesome.
Well, my mother was a great cook, and to keep her there, they had to put up with me. So he figured the only way he could keep me being a black man from stealing something and going to jail was to mentor me. So he kept me by his side. I helped clean up the pro shop. I shagged balls and I carried the bag. So, you know, it is what it is.
Hey, that's right. You know, we take any situation and make the best of it. That's our spirit.
Lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, you know, as a golf coach, are there any similarities when you're preparing the team? Are there any similarities to the mental preparation for golf and, you know, as a football player? Are there any similarities of how you mentally prepare for both?
Well, again, you have to prepare during the week as to how you plan to play on the weekend. And in golf, it's a game of doing the little things consistently well. And we worked every day on doing the little things that you had to do to be successful. The part that closely related to football is that the mental preparation is more important than the physical preparation. I mean, a lot of guys freeze up when the light come on. They weren't mentally prepared to play. They may have been physically ready, but they weren't mentally prepared. And we worked a lot with our kids on visualization and watching how the greatest golfers of our time or their time prepared and what they were thinking when their time and the light came on.
Okay. Wow.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not about color. It's about preparation and being mentally prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my greatest regrets now is that I have 4 kids that are playing professionally around the world, and all 4 of them were the best players that I had ever coached, and all 4 of them wanted to be the best player there and wanted to play at the next level, and they were successful.
Great.
And that's something you can't even necessarily teach them, that you either have that type of drive or I guess you don't, right?
Or you don't, right?
Well, you know, you either want to or you won't. I mean, I guess people look at it and say, why aren't there more blacks? Well, we tend to gravitate because of what our fathers did. If our fathers were good football players and never played golf, you're not going to take you to the golf course.
Of course.
If your daddy was a great basketball player in high school, he's not going to take you to the golf course. He's going to take you to the playground so he can show you what he knows.
Mm-hmm.
We are a victim of not enough blacks are versed enough in the game to teach their kids. Hence, they don't take their kids to the golf course.
It's kind of like that with swimming. Like my parents can't swim, so I can't swim. You know?
Yeah. And if you live in the hood and you got to walk 12 blocks to get to a pool that may be open and may not be open,
You ain't going.
swimming doesn't become that important.
Nah, exactly. Ain't nobody walking all that far.
Survival becomes important.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
I had a swimming pool in my first home, and I had to pull my kids out of the pool. I mean, I go home every day, and they'd be just as ashy as you ever seen, little black kids. They've been in the pool all day, but now they learned to swim and got over their fear of the water and became real competitive swimmers. By the same token, I started taking my youngest daughter to the golf course when she was 6. And she got a 4-year scholarship, won 4 conference championships, and went to the NCAA 4 times, and she's turning pro this summer. So
wow. That's awesome.
We have to introduce our kids to things that we are not versed in, that we may feel uncomfortable in, introduce them, because we don't want somebody else to be teaching our kids, and they go home and talk about how good Mr. John is and not how good Daddy is. If we ever get over that and introduce our kids to lifetime sports, then we will have more black golfers out there. I mean, Tiger Woods, he's an anomaly. I mean, he's gifted.
Yeah.
He's not, there won't be another Tiger Woods. There won't be. No. I mean, he was just born to do what he did, and his father directed him to being the best he could be at it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we gotta get to a point where we introduce our kids to sports that we're uncomfortable with.
It's like the Williams sisters and their father.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. The Jacksons and their dad, but that's another story.
You know, I was that ashy kid in my family too, looking for water all summer long.
Yeah.
I had a towel and I went up and down the block looking for someone's pool. We didn't have one, but I was looking for a neighbor's, a sprinkler, a pool, anything.
I can attest to that. I witnessed her just walking around the neighborhood in a bathing suit and a towel.
Yeah,
just walking around like waiting to hear some kids in the backyard. Like,
in the pool.
Like, that makes you either one of two things. Somebody who encourages young folks to be what they think they couldn't be, or a pervert.
Well, I'm not a pervert.
Not you, him. He watching you walk around in a towel. He probably stalked you.
No, that's because he was afraid of the water, so he wouldn't come out.
I wouldn't go. I'm like, I can't swim, and I'm good. I'm gonna just ride my bike.
Everybody else will stay in the backyard. I'm like, I'm out. I'm getting ready to find some water. I'll see you all later.
There was a lot of pools in the neighborhood, so she knew.
I can swim.
Hey, man. Yep. God bless you, brother.
Hey, 40 days and 40 nights could be right around this pandemic corner. You never know.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, Coach, you had a decent football career.
I did. I made money playing a child's game for a long time.
So let me set up this scenario for you, and then I want you to run with it, so to speak.
All right. So negotiate my running. Whoa, I don't run for free. I have a reputation. We got to negotiate.
So let me set this up. It's Saturday in Detroit. December 17th, 1977. Minnesota is kicking off in the third quarter. You take it from there.
No. Minnesota was receiving in the third quarter. No, I was with Detroit.
Yeah, you were with Detroit.
They were kicking our butts unmercifully. Coach walking up and down the sideline said, somebody got to do something. We need somebody to make a play. And by that time, they kicked it right at me, and I'm going, oh, man, here we go again. And it just, the guys that I was playing with realized it was the last game of the year. They were playing for their jobs next year. They did a great job of running. I grabbed it and ran straight up the field for 99 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
I'm bouncing around on the sideline. I'm getting pats on the back. We still down by a touchdown. And our defense get inspired. They go out and hold to 3 and out. I run back out there on 4th and 8. They punted. 2 guys had their hands on me. And the grease that I put on my arm to hide the ash, it slipped right off. And everybody was so, how did they slip off? And I ran 89 yards for the second touchdown that night. Now, funny when you get lucky twice. And I ain't talking about you trying to get lucky. I know what's on your mind. Let's straighten it out. It's funny when you have a night where you get lucky twice for the rest of your career. Everybody figure he can do that when he wants to. We want him on our team. And that's how I stayed in the league. Everybody thought I could do it again. I did it one more time, which kept me in the league another 2 years, and then I retired.
Wow. Was that your best moment in the NFL? If not, what was?
My best moment in the NFL was right after they had the final cut, and they had reduced the team down to everybody who was going to be playing, who had made the team. And I was sitting in my locker with my head down. I looked up, and my name was still on my locker. And I looked around, and I saw people crying, grown men crying and leaving, and their name wasn't on their locker. Somebody came over to me and said, "Brother, you know you made the team." I said, "I knew it." I walked outside, I screamed, jumped up and down, did 2 backflips, and had a whole bottle of champagne. That was the best moment of my NFL career.
That's what's happening.
That's great.
That's awesome.
That's a great moment.
And that was in Minnesota?
That was in Detroit.
In Detroit?
Yeah, I started in Cleveland.
You started in Cleveland. You were there just 1 year, right?
Yep.
And
2
then
in
you
Detroit,
went
1 in Cleveland, 2 in Detroit, 2 in Kansas City, and 4 in Minnesota.
Wow.
I know.
I couldn't keep a good job. Every time I did well and asked for some more money, they thought I was a comedian. Man, why are you joking like that?
Oh, you never had a chance to go to a warm city.
No, I never played in a warm city unless we played Miami in Miami.
Right.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So now I gotta ask, how was that first matchup against your brother? I mean, I know you wasn't on the field at the same time, but you know.
Well, lucky for him that we wasn't, because I'd have probably hit him so hard, broke every bone in his body. His grandkids would be walking around with a limp now. Anyway, my rookie year in Cleveland, next to the last game, preseason game, coach walked over to me and he said, "Man, I don't want you to get scared, but I'm saying I'm finna get cut." He said, "You're going to start tonight." And we happened to be playing the Bears that night. Walter played 1 quarter, and had 38 yards. I played 2 quarters and had 38 yards rushing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So y'all walked off even Steven, baby.
No, we weren't even Steven. We won the game, even though it was preseason.
Oh, so you was like, no, we beat Steven. I had the one up.
Da-da. And before the Bears got good, before they started Super Bowl shuffling and crap like that, they were pretty bad. We used to beat them twice a year.
Man.
And we always had a small wager. You know, my mother loved to come to the game. She never missed a game. And the wager was whoever lost the game would pay for her airfare up, her airfare back, and accommodations wherever we were playing.
Oh, man, that's awesome. How
And
proud.
so that was always Walter paid. Walter was always paying since he lost, huh?
All except one time. I felt sorry for him on Thanksgiving. I said, "It's bad enough to get your butt kicked on Thanksgiving. I take care of you."
So through it all, you played on the better teams, so you got more W's, which is what counts at the end of the day.
Well, the W's, you would be correct. Playing on better teams, you would be almost correct. But the truism that you left out, so obviously that you left out, I had to be the better player. And you can quote me on that.
We will.
Yeah, so you were the better player.
Yes.
Obviously.
Okay.
Yep. I taught him everything he knew. Think about it. I'm the oldest.
Now that I believe.
That's true.
I totally believe that. You know what I mean? For Michael Jordan had Larry Jordan.
Larry, yeah.
Walter had Eddie.
I can remember the first advice I gave Walter. He was about 11th grade. And I told him, I said, "Look, man, I don't know how to tell you this, but if you don't stop wetting the bed at night and not taking a shower before you go to school, people are going to be talking about me."
He was a reflection on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's about time you're 11th grade. You're about to be a senior. It's time for you.
This is not a true story.
You had me there for a minute.
Until you said 11th grade, I was like,
hey, he said nice, and you see where it led him.
If it was when he was smaller, I would have believed.
I'd have been like, hey, yeah, I hear you.
Now, we're not going to talk about small sizes because this is a family show. But when this is off, I'm going to tell you some things about Walter you didn't know.
Oh, boy. So you two are competitive with everything. I saw one of your interviews where you mentioned that you really miss fishing with Walter. So when you two were out fishing, were you two competitive with that as well?
Yeah. We were pretty competitive as brothers are. But not, to get back to your point, I hoped my entire life coming up that when we got to a point where we would retire, we could go out to the riverbank and fish, and that competitive spirit would still be there. And that's one of the things I really miss by Walter being called to heaven at his time. And, he's, as two brothers go, we're about as close as you could get. With the exception of that wedding in the bed thing.
So can I ask you something, Coach?
Hey, I'm as straight as an arrow, so.
All right. So I want to ask you something. This is a question I want to ask you about your brother, about Walter. Like, I remember I must have been like 10 or 11 when the Bears won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for that whole game for Walter to get the ball and score. Like when people say like, oh, like his teammates, like, oh, I didn't even know this. I'm like, how the fuck did you not notice that? Like, I'm a little kid. I'm sitting here waiting like, no, I need to see that dive over and that Walter Payton spike. Like, and I know he has, like, did you ever like talk to him? And I don't know if maybe that's something personal you might not share, but like, did you guys ever have a conversation about that? Or was that something that was maybe blown out of proportion a little bit or what?
Yeah, it was blown way out of proportion. Walter carried the ball 21 times in that game, and he had a great ball game. He rushed for over 100 yards. The Bears blew New England out, so he was happy. What he was more upset about was why all this fuss was made about him not scoring in the Super Bowl, and he's walking around with the same ring that everybody else had on. So without his input, everybody wouldn't have a ring. He may have scored a touchdown and gotten beaten by 2 touchdowns. He didn't want that.
Yeah.
The play that was supposed to get him in the end zone, they were down on the 2-yard line. It was 2nd and goal. They called an option play. They put William Perry in the backfield. They ran Perry on the dive. McMahon came down the line. He was going to pitch it to Walter. Walter was going to run to the corner for a touchdown. Well, New England decided we're not going to let Payton score. So instead of closing in on Perry, they took outside to chase Walter to the corner. McMahon, being the quarterback that he was, he gave the ball to Perry, and the rest is history. Touchdown's a touchdown, regardless of who scores it.
It is, but it's nice to hear that backstory, though.
It really is.
It really is, because, I mean, we're, obviously we're completely on the outside, so, like, to hear what the play was and what the option was, at least, like.
Well, it could have just as easy. They could have tackled Perry for no game. McMahon could have tossed it to Walter, and he would have scored. The outcome would have been the same. Everybody on the Bears side and everybody in the greater Chicago area left happy.
We did.
I
still wanted to see him score. I'm sorry. I was happy, but.
Yeah, I still know the whole Super Bowl shuffle.
Yeah. Actually, his verse.
Look old enough to know the shuffle. You don't look old enough to know the Super Bowl. Were you around then?
Bless your heart. Bless your heart, Coach.
Bless your heart. Nice to the lady, of course.
So, Coach, jumping back to your career, today they avoid kicking to returners. They they move the kickoff up, so they always kick it through the end zone. So back then, I don't think I think that everybody returned it pretty much, right?
Yep.
Okay, so they were a little tougher. Players and coaches, they were a little tougher back then. So if you played in the league today, how do you think it would be different for you?
Well, I'd probably get to play another 10 years if they're going to kick it out the end zone and I don't have to run it back. Hell, that's the kind of job I've been looking for all my life. I can go play now. All I have to do is get back there and watch it go over my head.
Yeah, Ted Ginn kept the job for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Doing that.
I'd be hoping they keep putting helium in the footballs and all the kickers keep smoking that whatever they're smoking.
So do you still watch a lot of football now, or are you kind of removed from it? You do?
I go to a high school football game and speak to a high school team every Friday night since they started in August. Pandemic and all, some of them are still playing. So I get to go and speak to them. I would rather watch college football than professional football because it's pure. I mean, you have people who are playing for, one, the love of the game and the respect of their university. And, you get maximum effort. In the NFL, you got guys who only play for that check, don't want to get hurt, and don't care if they win or lose this week because they're playing a chump team next week.
Chump.
Yeah. There's some bad teams in the NFL this year.
There are.
Yeah. The Bears are one of them.
Yeah.
So are you a Bears fan?
Huh?
Are you a Bears fan, Coach?
Me?
Yeah. No. I mean, I know you were then, but now are you still a Bears fan?
I played for Minnesota. I was brought up to hate the Bears.
Whoa.
Why?
Because they were our rivalries.
Okay.
The Vikings and the Bears, when they played, the whole thing, even Bud Grant changed. That week was all business.
Okay.
It wasn't no fun until we won.
And Bud Grant was the coach?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
You remember Bud Grant? He's a tall white guy with a stoic look on his face.
Yeah, I was like 2.
Terrence was like 10, but he didn't really.
No. I'm only 45, so I was 2 when Bud Grant was the coach for Minnesota.
Terrence.
Yes, sir.
You're 45.
45 years old.
Man, I got 3 pair of tennis I've been wearing that are 45 years.
Now that's why. Was that the
your birthday present?
Were those Vikings teams? Was that the purple people eaters?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. And when I played for Cleveland, they had that catchy nickname too.
What was that?
The mistakes by the lake.
Was that your worst team?
You know what? To get an opportunity to play in the National Football League with allegedly who are some of the greatest athletes of our time. I mean, other people may have been better, but the players were still great players. And to be able to be mentioned in the same realm as another NFL player, I mean, losing the Super Bowl doesn't make you a loser. Right. It just makes you the second best team in the entire National Football League. So, again, the fact that the only Super Bowl I went to was the last year that Minnesota went, and we got kicked from one end of the field to the other by Oakland. I put me a jersey on and went running out the stadium. We are number 2. We are number 2.
Coach, have you always been this funny? Because you're hilarious.
No, really not. But most people don't have the sense of humor or a beautiful sidekick like one of you, and the other one, he went blind when he was a young boy because he didn't do what he was told.
I've always been bucking authority. I'm uncoachable. I don't know what to say at this point.
And you're gonna have to get over that fear of sex. I think if you try with somebody in the daytime, you may get a different impression of it.
Well, look, I got 2 kids running around here that
Oh, congratulations!
that'll say otherwise.
Who's the father?
I don't know. Their names go on my tax return, so I'm gonna just say me.
Hey, I got 2 boys and 2 girls, and you know what you find out? If you feed them long enough, people will walk up and say, they look just like you.
Right. Yeah, they don't even have to be yours, right? They just look just like you. Like, yeah.
If man wasn't so old and doing so well, that DNA test would have been way up my list. Way up.
You don't even want to know the truth now, huh?
No.
That's your That's part of your retirement plan. You can't let that go.
To retire.
No, my oldest son played in the NBA for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, and he played overseas for 6 years. So he's the tallest Peyton that you'll find.
How tall is he?
About 6'4".
Wow.
Yep.
Oh.
I could get to be 6'4", but I stopped growing when I was about 6.
So,
hey, well, Coach, you did a lot with what you had.
What's your son's name?
Terry.
Gary?
Terry.
Oh, I was about to say Gary Payton.
That's
But he didn't play for 2 years. Oh, okay.
You should come to some of my family reunions. God, dog.
Man, I would love to get the invite. I would love to get the invite.
I had a cousin that played for Baltimore for 3 years named James Payton. He was a defensive end. He was 6'5", about 265.
Wow.
That's the only time that you could play a horse game and it breaks out into a fist fight.
I wouldn't want to be in that fist fight.
I went to one family reunion, shot one game of horse, never picked up a basketball again.
Oh, your whole family's competitive, huh?
Oh,
competitiveness, yeah.
Wow.
It is. We all are competitive in our own ways. Some of us are overt, some of us are closeted, but we want to be the best at anything that we do. If there's a contest that you're in, deep inside of you, you may go, oh, I'll do this, but it don't mean that to me. You want to win.
You do want to win.
You really want to win, and you try to win.
Yeah.
That's competitive.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. You try to front like you don't want to win just in case you lose.
Yeah, you might lose.
And then you be like, I ain't want to win no way.
We're competitive
all the time.
Our family volleyball games at family picnics.
Oh, yeah.
Hardcore.
Oh, that's just for fun.
Man, I didn't feel like winning anyway.
Right. So now you talk about that competitive spirit that ran through your family. Now, like we know Walter was obviously a fierce competitor, but he always seemed like, quiet, and obviously growing up watching him playing. Growing up watching him play in Chicago, we didn't have all the social media, so we didn't really know what the athletes were like outside of
the field.
Outside of the field, you know what I mean? Like I saw him do some really vicious shit to people, even though he seemed quiet. But I saw him throw forearms and stiff arms in people's necks that were like that weren't nice. So I'm like, okay, he's definitely not like a passive guy, you know what I mean? But like, was he like was he like a shit talker when y'all was growing up, or like what was he like?
No, he stayed in his place because it was always second. So you don't talk much shit when you're getting beat at everything you try. Now,
That's true.
you talking about the things you just brought up made me realize that you're talking about at one time the greatest rusher in NFL history, and all
I
you can
still,
talk about was how
still.
vicious he was. Straight on. That was self-preservation. That was hit or get hit.
Right.
Right.
So he didn't want to get hit, so he would
He
deliver.
was so strong, so strong.
Man, those blows that he delivered though, like
It was serious.
But you think about it, 265-pound guy coming up on a running back, he's not expecting that he's going to drop his elbow on him and knock him down. It catches him by surprise every time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like he.
But you know what made Walter, to me, what made Walter such a great competitor was because he respected the game. He respected the game and the people who made the game what it was. And he respected a guy who would take 2 weeks' pay and take him and his 3 kids to a game, sit up way up high just to see Walter play. And he would always say, I don't play for the guy sitting in the box seats on the 50-yard line. I play for that guy who worked all week or all month to be able to take his kids to see one game, to see me one time. And I wanted to make sure those kids saw me at my best. And, you know, when you respect the game like that and other people, you know, good things happen to you. He was blessed in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Just like me. I'm blessed in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're hilarious.
Absolutely.
Coach, you are funny.
And that smile he gives while he's saying
Yes, Coach, you have a great smile, Coach. Great smile.
My brother, if you was blessed like me, you smile too.
So, Coach, let me ask you this: at what point did you know I'm going to the league? I'm going to the NFL.
Well, the question was the decision I had to make coming out of high school as a senior. I was drafted by the Atlanta Braves my senior year in the 5th round. And I signed, yeah.
You play baseball too?
I was drafted as a high school baseball player.
Wow.
Okay.
And I'd signed a football scholarship at Jackson State. My mother sit me down and she said, whether you ever play football in your entire a game of pro baseball in your entire life or football, what we want you to do is we want you to be the first person in our family on your father's side and my side that goes to college and graduates. And it was the greatest gift trip since Dr. Reed made me work for $1,000. You start when your mama start crying, you gonna cry, and you will agree to do some stuff that you had no intentions of doing. I said, I said, Mama, don't cry. I don't want to play baseball. I'm gonna go to college. You know how much money I left on the table? I could have been playing baseball at 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't regret it. I made a great choice to attend Jackson State. I was the first one in my family to graduate. My brother graduated from Jackson State. My sister graduated from Jackson State. She was in the band. My oldest daughter attended Jackson State. My youngest daughter graduated from Jackson State. So I think that what I did set the stage for the decisions they had to make later on in life. If I bypass, take a pro off as a baseball player, don't make it, end up back home working in a parachute factory, but driving a new car, they would think, I don't need to go to college. I can do what I want to do right here and drive a new car. So I'd like to think that I was the bell cow for the Peyton kids by going to college.
Hey, so before we let you go, Coach, I just want to ask you something about just kind of like the state of the NFL today. Who you liking? You know, like quarterbacks, running backs. who do you look at and say like, okay, they would still be who they are in any era?
Well, when you look at the quarterbacks, the younger quarterbacks, you have to look at Mahomes because he's doing some things now that would translate into the 70s, the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, and probably in the next generation. He is a once-in-a-generation talent. You look at some of the defensive linemen, they are absolutely huge and move like ballerinas. I mean, they're the reason I retired, the true reason I retired from football. They were getting too big and too good. Why would I stay around and get killed? Anyway, you watch them, there are one or two guys that stand out, and then there are one or two guys that are good. But people don't pay to watch good players. They pay to watch great players. And we've gotten, the NFL has gotten to a situation where it's chosen who they're going to make stars, and those guys can't live up to the hype, and they're still pushing.
Who do you like as far as a running back?
I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire from LSU. He's
in Kansas City. Yep.
Kansas City. I mean, he is going to be really, really special. I like the kid from Alabama who runs for for Tennessee. I mean, he's a horse of a different color.
Henry.
Derrick
Henry.
He's the real deal.
He's a horse. He's a workhorse. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
definitely.
So, you know, I like watching those. I watch running backs because, irregardless of public opinion, I was a running back.
Oh, we know you was a running black.
That's right.
Running black.
So I just want to ask you about the game on Sunday. We're playing. Actually, the Bears are playing your old team, Detroit.
Yep.
What is your prediction or your keys to the game?
That both teams gonna show up. Both teams gonna have about 3 or 4 people who not gonna play because of the virus, and the best team will win.
Okay.
Who that is?
Simple enough.
I put money on that.
Simple enough.
I'm gonna do this to you. Look. I can tell you the exact score of the game before it starts.
All right, hit me.
Okay.
Hit me.
Nothing.
Well, he did say before it started.
Man. Woo!
See, we see that's something else.
Bridge.
We don't have that cleverness like that. We slow to the draw. We are.
Yeah, because I was like,
I'm waiting.
really?
You were waiting when your turn.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Getting this Back to the Future.
Yeah, you got me. You got me on that, coach. You got me.
But you know what? If the Bears, they're playing in Detroit, aren't they?
Yeah, they're playing.
No, I think it's here.
No, it's in Detroit.
No, we won in
First game was in Detroit.
Okay, in Chicago.
So it's in Chicago?
Yes.
But
you would've won
you
that bet.
still wait a minute. You still got Trubisky. If you have Trubisky as your leader as a quarterback, you got a problem. Yeah. I mean, Trubisky is the prime example of how somebody made a mistake, refused to acknowledge that they made a mistake, and they rather lose than replace.
Well, they tried to replace, and they replaced with something that was even worse.
Da-da. Yeah. Well, now you need to fire the general manager because he's made several bad decisions on personnel.
Yes.
Detrimental.
Yeah. So, but now Trubisky, he came from what, Illinois?
No, North Carolina.
No, he didn't
State or something.
No, North Carolina.
Well, he was average then. How you gonna bring him and put him as the leader and the face of your organization? He can't play.
Well, he'd only played 13 games in college when they drafted him.
He played behind somebody.
Yeah, and then he wasn't behind anyone to even learn.
Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
Lennon, yep.
So
you look at it, and anybody else would cut their losses and try somebody else because you can't do no worse. The season, the only problem is you're still in the race.
but the problem is
bad
they did try to cut their losses and it did get worse. That's why they had to go. I mean, the guy got hurt, but they were going to go back to Mitch anyway, because as bad as they looked Sunday, it still ran a little better with him.
Mitch looked better than the other guy.
Right. So they need to cut all their losses from everybody at the end of this year and blow it all up and start over.
So
Well, it's too late to start tanking to
Yeah.
get the number one draft choice, and they got three kids coming out this year that can make a difference as quarterbacks. Three kids that can make a difference at quarterback.
we gonna finish with 8 wins somehow.
Yeah.
Terrible. And
How we gonna do that?
I don't know, just
On a roll and win 4 of the next 5 games.
and then we're gonna play some
Ooh.
garbage games at the end.
I mean, because the Packers won't really need to have Aaron Rodgers play the last game.
Nope.
So they could win that one.
Got one
You
again.
beat Detroit.
They
So they
could
put
beat
Jordan Love in there. Is it really gonna make that much of a
But they're not even going to put him. You see, they put in the other guy. Was it Boyle or Old Boy, whatever? They may not even put in Jordan Love. I don't know. And then they play the Jaguars, and
The
That
Jaguars,
should be almost beat Green Bay.
they're talking about going home.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Anything the Bears can do to make a bad situation worse, they'll figure out a way to do it. And so has been the history of this franchise. You know,
Yep.
like they
Yep.
will find a way to win 1, 2, maybe even 3 more games. I mean, we've seen worse Bear teams pull out a few wins at the end of the year because they were playing games that didn't matter. It didn't matter to the opponent they were playing,
Absolutely.
and it pads their, you know. And when you have a defense like we have who can play, well,
except Sunday.
yeah, except
Right. They
Sunday.
didn't show up Sunday. They did.
I mean, from the first possession, they were awful.
Yeah,
You think about what Emilio just said. The greatest team that the Bears ever assembled that won the Super Bowl, you know what they did right after the Super Bowl? They
What's that?
dismantled the team.
Oh,
They
yeah.
dismantled the team.
Yep.
They got
That's
rid
true.
of Wilbur Marshall first. They just dismantled it. It's about dollars and cents, and the reason it's about dollars and cents in the National Football League, because they share equally in the revenue. You don't have to win. You're going to get the same amount in revenue sharing whether you win a single game.
I mean, can we also mention Ditka putting a midget in at
Hey.
quarterback in the playoffs?
I'm 5'7".
No, not you, coach.
But he said,
You said midget. You said midget.
All right, I should have said white midget.
Oh, well, yeah, because I'm big in the black midget community.
All right, so is T-Net. We were just talking about that last week.
little T Nick.
Hey, man. That's a short joke, man.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not one to try
It's a
to.
little show.
I'm sure too, but hey, but oh man, Coach, it has been a blast. I mean, can I say a fucking blast? Like,
I have enjoyed it, guys. You guys have a great sense of humor. Is this a black radio station?
yeah,
More or less?
It's for everybody.
everybody.
It's for everybody.
No shit. I mean, really.
You know, we don't discriminate. You know,
Black,
Y'all call
white,
a spade, don't you?
green, orange.
spade to spade. You know,
Mm-hmm.
snowflake,
If you
snowflake.
listen, we like you.
Oh,
Yep.
You know.
No discrimination over here.
Oh my God! Again, another warm round of applause for Mr. Eddie Payton.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Hey, guys, I have enjoyed it. If you ever you know, if they don't run you off the air and you want me to ever come back, just let me know and tell me how to get this thing back on. Can somebody tell me how to get y'all off of here now?
Well, you come
I've been looking at y'all all night, and one of you maybe.
You tired of us now.
No, I'm not. Well, yes, ma'am.
Well, that was a good. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Who the hell?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm a little confused how you got in, but
Just having, you know,
and she's in an alliance.
celebratory cocktails.
What the hell?
Rocking my favorite player. Yeah, he retired, but that's okay.
I was about to say.
Are-
I mean, you got quite a little bar behind you.
right.
Right.
This is
They all
beer bridge. This is what Lions fans do. We have
That's to make it through. That's what you guys got to do.
Well, I think I got to give it to
that
the Bears.
awful ass.
But we have a lot to celebrate because Patricia is fired. So it is a new.
That is
day
true.
for Detroit.
That is
That's why
true. I'm happy for
celebrating.
you.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
Detroit shit, like just celebrating a man losing his job.
He
That's
didn't
the highlight.
deserve it.
You are about to lose your job.
Thank you. He did not deserve his job. He sucked at it. We should have kept Jim. I love Jim. I hope we're texting him right now. Hey, big head, come on back to Detroit.
Jim Schwartz.
No, Caldwell.
Oh, Jim Caldwell.
It's like Schwartz.
Okay. Hey, big head.
Yeah, what you doing? So you know he's not
WYD.
coaching right
He's
now.
staying away from Detroit.
I don't know. He spoke very nicely over the weekend about us. So I have my fingers crossed. I saw Romeo coaching on Thanksgiving. Look at him like, damn, that could be us. So
They might go for there's the rumor that they'll go for is it Biemini or whatever? He's with
Kansas City.
yeah.
yes.
They're thinking he'll be the next hot coach.
I want him in
He'll
Chicago.
but then he'll probably wind up being just like Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy. And
Y'all got Nagy still. Yeah,
Andy
you can
Reid's
stick with
coaching
Nagy.
tree is a little lately.
Ever since y'all got rid of Levy, y'all have gone.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah.
So she just came in here and just talked shit.
I don't.
Sure did.
With a team that has wasted their quarterback.
I've been drinking. I'll tell you what, we got 99 problems in Detroit, but a quarterback ain't one.
Oh shit!
But I mean, but have you won?
Oh, shit. That was clever.
But what are you winning with your non-problem QB?
Well, we did win in November, which
right.
is more than the Bears did. So.
But you all were so bad that you let this horrible Bears team beat you. Come back from how many down?
That was Patricia. He was any fourth quarter, and you know what? Swift was the rookie. He got the blinding lights, running backs, get all this and that. It's fine. I'll take that rookie mistake. He's made up for it. He's been a good pick. I like Swift. Hopefully he'll be back this week. But we have some redemption, and we are excited. Everyone in Detroit is excited. We got our little interim coach knowing things are up, and y'all.
Well, we might be celebrating that too later on.
Oh man!
Like hearing everyone in Detroit is excited, like that does those words. I know those words, but they don't even fit together. Like everybody in Detroit is excited about what? Like
Till 4
Right.
Sure.
till 4 o'clock Central on Sunday.
And you know, the prospect that maybe next year Thanksgiving we'll play the Bears at home and we'll get to whip their ass
And
like we
get
did
your ass
a couple
whooped
times
again.
ago.
I mean, no, you might beat the Bears next year because they're probably going to blow it all up. But even Matthew Stafford doesn't know what his future holds next year.
This is very true. I
He's
hope
always hurt around this time.
You know what? He's doing very strong this year. He's getting up there, but you look at Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, he's how old?
Yeah, and I mean that's a beat up body right there.
But we're talking about a Super Bowl winner. Are we really comparing?
Has Matthew Stafford? I'm not even trying to make a joke because I don't know. Has Matthew Stafford been to the playoffs?
Yes.
Okay.
With who? With who? Well, he was with Detroit.
Right.
Yeah. That might have been like Megatron's last year.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right, Megatron. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now he hasn't
Yeah,
won
my
a
memory
playoff game
fails.
yet, but he has been.
He has been. All right.
I was in Michigan watching that playoff game. I was sitting there like, I can't believe the fucking Lions are in the playoffs. And
Was that the year when all the what was the Megatron, the catch rule? Was that same year? Remember when it was a catch, but they ruled it not a catch or something like that? It was a whole
I think
thing.
that
That shit wasn't a catch. That shit wasn't.
It was a catch.
No, it was.
Catch.
That wasn't a catch.
catch now? It wasn't back then. I think it was like a year later.
Okay.
Because I think the Megatron became the Megatron rule, kind of. I was still in Columbia. I remember watching that game. And when they were in the playoffs, I think I had moved back.
I was at that game. That wasn't no catch. That wasn't no catch.
You were probably drunk, so.
Yeah. Well, that's something that Bears and Lions fans have in common. We have to drink our way through.
We
the
are
season.
usually drunk. Yes, correct.
I mean, how can we get through our seasons lately?
We cannot, and y'all got to be outside too.
Yeah.
Well, nobody is outside now, but
Now.
Well,
Got a little liquor for that, but yeah, normally we've always been inside. Back in the old Pontiac Silverdome days.
yeah, that'll.
Here's a pop when you walk through them. Now we got nice Ford Fields. We're always inside.
Props to the Silverdome for hosting WrestleMania 3. That's the only worthwhile thing that happened there. But
That's
and
true.
the Pistons playing there on that weird elevated floor, like, oh my god. Sorry.
What's your prediction for Sunday?
Oh, my prediction is that the Lions are going to reawaken. They're going to be excited to get rid of that man we will never speak of again, and that we will beat y'all by a couple scores. Now, do I think you'll score once? Yeah, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But past that, I mean, we'll give you one touchdown, but maybe some field goals. You finally realize you need to pay a kicker. So you do have a decent kicker, not Robbie-ish. But
Robbie.
Matthew Stafford's going to throw it to us once, at least once.
Matthew Stafford is a god, okay? He is not.
oh my
Y'all should talk. Y'all should talk. Okay?
Oh.
Last Sunday, I watched Tom Brady thinking that was the worst quarterback performance of the day, and then Mitch came onto the field, couldn't even hold the ball. So
All right,
I have some advice for you guys, though. What you should do is you should do what the Broncos did. Look around your practice squad. See if you had any like receivers that played quarterback in high school, maybe little like pee-wee football. Give them a chance. It won't be worse.
That line.
It won't be worse.
They be killed behind that line.
Yeah, now we're picking on our Pee-wee.
You know what? I mean, Matthew Stafford should be better. I mean, isn't he supposed to be considered better? He'll throw the ball away. He's going to throw the ball away because he's a gunslinger.
He's always good for one. He's always good for one INT, at least one.
At least one.
Mitch is good for about 3 or 4, and then he's going to fumble a few times too.
Well,
The drop deep, it's going to be outside. It might be a little chilly. I don't think he'll be able to hold on to the ball.
I don't think they're going to have him throw it that far anymore. But actually, Mitch was never really he never really threw many picks until more recently.
Did you watch last week?
Did you hear me say till recently?
Okay.
And he still has thrown less than the guy that replaced him, who he'd been replaced.
I will say he didn't throw a lot of picks. He just threw to where no one was.
Ooh, you act like Matthew Stafford.
10 yards from anyone, really. I mean, the always said he just.
I'm sorry. I forgot that it was Matthew Rogers playing for the Lions. I forgot. I forgot that.
Wonderful.
I forgot that Matthew Rogers or Patrick Stafford or whoever you want to say was playing for the Lions. My fault.
Hey, at least we don't have to deal with Mitch. So I'll take it. We got Prater, who's got a big leg.
All right.
We got our kicker. We got, we're a little beat up.
For the plug.
Great.
We got a kicker.
Sherry, you have a good night.
Bye, Sherry.
Plug on me.
So we've had a very interesting show. Again, shout out to Mr. Eddie Payton. That was amazing.
Great. That was awesome.
Great time. Whoever that Lions chick was, less of a great time.
Lions chick.
Not so much.
Sherry Stafford.
Jerry Stafford.
Yeah, that must have been Matt's wife because she was awfully on his
So
team.
she's a Stafford family member.
Yeah, serious.
Shit, okay, well, hey, really quick, just to change subjects really quick. Kristen, some kind of news in Cubs land today with the Cubs. Nothing major, just kind of like more moving to that official end of that World Series team era with the imminent release of Kyle Schwarber and
3 years too late.
yeah.
They didn't strike while the iron was hot with several people.
Yeah. Like, yes, I remember conversation with you.
The thing is, like, I like Schwarber, but when you have to deplete your minor leagues to get people like Aroldis Chapman, like you understand what you have to do, but then you have to realize, okay, this window is going to close and you need to replenish your minor leagues. People love Schwarber. He was like a hero.
Right.
People loved Addison Russell before he was hitting folks.
He was hitting folks.
And I know Lynn Casper thought Addison Russell had MVP potential. I don't know what he was looking at, and he's a very smart baseball man. I'll never understand what he saw in Addison to think he was going to be an MVP. I was never a big Addison fan, but they did not trade him when they should have. Like they hold on to people too late, and now similar to what we were talking about with the Bulls, now they want to get rid of all their star power and just be horrible. No.
What are your thoughts on them still talking about moving Bryant?
I don't want Bryant or Baez to go, and I would like to keep Wilson. I think that should be your core.
What about Rizzo?
No, I'm okay with Rizzo leaving.
No.
And I love Rizzo, but I wouldn't give him much money. If he wants to stay. I know a lot of people love Jason Hayward, but that was probably one of the worst contracts ever.
Who loves Jason Hayward?
Oh, a lot of people like,
really?
his leadership. Well, that's a lot of damn money to lead.
And during
that is one of, and he seems like a great person.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and all that, but that is one of the worst contracts that they'll never be able to get rid of, unless they pay most of it.
What did they sign? 20 years? What did they do?
It seems like it. It seemed like he got like a lifetime contract.
Yeah.
But I remember when Nick wanted to talk about Theo Epstein leaving, and with Theo Epstein, I was fine with him leaving, but that did spell the end of. And while he did a great job in some things, I think he also didn't do as good a job as he could have in other ways.
Sustainability is always something that matters in any leadership position. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're doing well now, but how long can you go? Hey, shout out to Theo for Eloy Jimenez, though.
Right, because you thought. Because they also thought they kept thinking Kyle Schwarber would be good enough, and they did need a pitcher, so that's why they decided to make it. But
get a pitcher though in Quintana? I mean, they got a guy.
Who?
With Quintana, it's like they.
I know that was the only guy that they could get. I guess there was. I don't know what they were thinking.
But again, that just leads to what you were saying about them depleting their farm system. I mean, they gave up Eloy to. For
try to make another run because they were missing. Right. They were missing a pitcher. They didn't necessarily need another ace, but they needed a reliable pitcher. And from what everyone saw, Quintana, he always had terrible run support with the Sox, but he pitched a lot. So you saw, okay, we could bring him over here, and he could, blah blah blah. But I just think, and I think he kind of did this a little bit with Boston when he left. Now they were able to come back to life, but now they're bad again. But it's just, I'm not looking forward to the bad Cubs because their good players are so just A and double A. Like I don't know of anyone who's really on the horizon. So I know they're saying they're so poor, and I've never been a Ricketts fan. I'm a Cubs fan in spite of the Ricketts. But you know, them crying broke, but
billion.
but LA, New York, everyone else can still, I mean, hell, the Sox are trying to get Springer and trying to, you know, other people are trying to spend money, and the Sox never get people. So if they're trying to spend money, how come other teams have money and you don't, Cubs? What have you been doing with your money? Paying Jason Hayward, I guess.
Jason Hayward putting up big scoreboard. Hey, you know, speaking of the Sox, so Lucas, you know, Gio, I read about him. He had a really long conversation with his new skipper, with LaRusso, and he said some really positive things about LaRusso's, you know, his mentality and his philosophy on the game. I mean, you know, I don't know what that means. You know, when you talk about a guy who's 77 and you talk about his philosophy, he's like, yeah, the nigga's like old as Plato. Of course, that's what you talk about is philosophy. You know what I mean?
I think Tim Anderson spoke with him too, and he spoke highly of him.
I mean, yeah, all right, well, I mean, hell, you know, hey, who we you know, Kitty said he liked the bat flip. I didn't believe that either, but you know, like, you did not like that flip. But because Harold Baines would have never flipped the bat like that.
Well, every time someone mentions Harold Baines, I think of that commercial where he says, "Evidently," I can't not think of that.
What commercial is that? I never heard.
You never saw that? Do you know a commercial I'm talking about? Don't you, Emilio?
Harold Baines said that?
Yes, it was. I think it was for the White Sox. It was like some White Sox promotion. And whatever they said, I don't even remember. All I remember is him saying, "Evidently." And I was like, Harold Baines. You don't.
I don't even remember Harold Baines even speaking.
Right. You don't say anything in the
lifetime.
What you say.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've never seen him. I don't even know what he sounds like.
Evidently, I just told you.
That's
him.
Disappointingly, I still love Harold Baines. Still like my.
That commercial.
He's my favorite.
I wanted to say it when Ron Kittle was talking about him. I was like, no, he said that's his best friend.
He wouldn't even got it. He was like, yeah, that's a good impression of him. Yeah, you're like, all right. Well, all right. So let's, you know, all right, let's wrap it with some predictions and some.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
I talk about the Bears a little bit. I mean, shit.
I wanted to avoid they bum ass.
No. The man
That's my
I'm
team.
going last.
That's my team.
Welcome back, Mitch. He's back in the fold. I don't see why they wouldn't just let him start the rest of the year. Honestly, it's like
they may as well.
I mean, you halfway put the boy in this position, so give him a chance to audition for his next team.
Right, because they're not going to sign him back.
Yeah, exactly. And you're stuck with Foles whether you play him or not. So.
Might as well let him heal. I didn't listen to it, but Stephen A. says something. He blamed Nagy because he said it's something that even T. Nick brought up. I think we brought up before that the switch was made a little bit too fast.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't hear the whole Stephen A. Smith thing.
Y'all brought that up.
No, you did too, because you were saying that they needed to keep a mobile quarterback for the next thing, that maybe it was too soon.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and I don't know exactly everything Stephen A. Smith said, but it was something about that, that, you know, because Nagy kept saying it was a gut feeling because it was that bad pass. But other than that, they've been kind of moving all right, but it was the same problems that they have, whoever. It's just, they just don't, neither one of them are good enough, and neither one of them can run this system. And so, like, I agree with you. And I'll always be Team Mitchell, whether he's good or bad. I am. But you might as well let him continue the rest of the season. As bad as they look, it still looked a little better.
It did not look as bad Sunday. I mean, it looked really bad. That's because the defense didn't show up.
That is what those two inexcusable interceptions, they resulted in touchbacks. So you let Aaron Rodgers drive 75 yards on you twice
Mm-hmm.
and didn't even hold him. Mitch, it was inexcusable. I'm not excusing. But normally that defense would have at least just held them to 2 field goals.
And honestly, I thought that first interception kind of was excusable because they told him to just
Air it out.
air it out and throw it. They
I know a
told
lot of people were like, he should have gone to the check down, but I know Lawrence Holmes was saying if you can't, if you give him that option, telling him this is what to do, and like Chris was saying, he's like, at this point, I don't got nothing to lose. So yeah, I'm gonna go for that instead of going for this check down.
I wasn't even mad at the interception. I was like, dude, just fucking throw it up there. Like, I mean,
like T Nick said, you got to audition now. It's like you don't want me.
Next contract.
Yeah, you don't want me. I know I'm not coming back here. So
let the boy work on his next contract.
Yeah.
Y'all put him in.
Exactly.
You moved up to draft him. You made him the face of one of the biggest football markets in the fucking country prematurely. They did this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, his talent is what it is, but they put him in that position, give him a shot to make a respectable exit from the organization.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like you say, Nick Foles will be here regardless unless they decide to just eat the contract.
Yeah.
And if they don't fix the line, it's going to be the same result for Nick Foles.
You know, there's so many.
The line was better, though. That wasn't a bright spot.
Mm-hmm.
The line did look a little better with the changes.
And I gotta say, like, you know, I don't know, like, it was like, well, shit, who's starting? Who's taking the? Obviously, it was Mitch taking the reps in practice, right? So, like, what was all the secretive? Well, we don't know who's starting. Like, who are you trying to fool?
Yeah, at least this week he said it early.
That was some cryptic ass bullshit, wasn't it? I mean, come on, dude.
And then, like the Bill Lazor said, he's like, "Look, no one's stupid. Everyone knows who's practicing and who hasn't been."
Right.
He's like, he was probably saying, "I don't know what the hell we're doing either," because
he doesn't.
Yeah, like you clearly knew that Nick Foles hadn't practiced.
So right.
So what the fuck are you holding back for?
And then you certainly can't have someone with a hip pointer going to play behind a questionable offensive line.
Right.
Who hasn't practiced all
That's like a death wish.
And it was like, it was, and they asked Mitch how did he feel some sort of way? And, you know, Mitch he's not, what's he going to say? Yeah, I did. No, he's trying to keep a little starting job. So he's like, no, I didn't. And he may have known, and maybe it was just no one else knew. But it seemed like that Nagy was like holding out so much hope that Nick Foles
would come back. Yeah.
I'm like, that's the hill you want to continue to die on? You want to continue to die on this Nick Foles hill. It's not working.
He don't even like you.
So yeah, I would feel some kind of way if I was Mitch. Like, damn, you can't even name me the starter.
That's why he threw in the double and triple coverage. He's like, I'm about to make you look bad too.
Mitch probably did feel some kind of way, but like, you know, good and bad. Mitch, you know, he's a professional. He's been coached, you know, to say the right things in the right time, except for his turn the TV off thing. But like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
That's why they all like him.
Yeah, he's not a bad person. He's a good locker room guy. He works hard. You know, you've constantly heard like, no, it's not his work ethic. It's he puts in the work. You know,
it's that what Coach Eddie said when the bright lights, mentally it's all there leading up to the bright lights, and it's like he forgets his footwork. He forgets everything as soon as leading up to it. Everyone says he's like a world beater, but something happens when he gets in that huddle.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, yeah, it is different when you out there and it's game day versus practice. Yeah, it's totally different. And like, I mean, I don't know if it was Nagy or if it was Tressman who was just like, yeah, well, you know, we had such a great week of practice and Nagy, and I don't know what happened on Sunday. Well, shit. Well, Sunday came and it was the game. That's what happened.
Yeah. Your defense, I think maybe they need to practice how the defense is going to go after him in the game. We know you can't hit him, but they need to, like, you know how the defense attacks? Maybe get the second string defense to attack him during practice so he can feel that real pressure.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then we're just pulling at strings at this point because.
But I mean, maybe
Yeah.
you know he's going to go away and be a star because that's the way things work in Chicago.
Yeah, right.
And Nick Foles is going to flounder. And then we're going to pick a bad college quarterback, and we still won't build the line.
We're going to have like the number 11th pick or something.
You know, that's just the way it goes.
And then pick somebody we ain't even going to fucking use.
Ooh.
Just like Cole Kmet. We picked him the highest pick. We don't even use him.
We don't even know what
and you know, like, with the pass that he didn't catch, everyone's like, well, Mitch put it in a bad spot. He overthrew it. He threw it wrong. Regardless, he should have made the play.
Yeah. You know, and then it's like, but then again, and we've talked about this, we're in this situation where it's like nobody can afford to make one mistake. And that's not even realistic.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, guys, the top guys miss catches sometimes, but they make it up, you know, with so many other ways. And with our guys, it's like we can't afford one missed catch. And my God, I saw Allen Robinson jump unnecessarily for another ball and come down and get that. It was like, dude, you could have just caught it. He could have caught it in stride.
Yep, I know exactly which catch that was.
He goes to catch it, jump, and catch it like down low because he jumped. So you know what I mean? Like, what was that?
As good as he is, and he could probably be better with a better quarterback. It baffles me that he jumps for no reason.
Yes.
And then when he jumps, and then he comes down lately in crucial moments, sometimes he doesn't come down with the ball.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
He bobbles that shit.
Yeah, but yeah, the jumping for no reason. I mean, maybe he expected the ball a different way, but you didn't see it coming towards you that it wasn't high.
It was at his chest, and he jumped and caught it in his
in his fucking numbers.
Well, Kristen, you've had a lot to say, so I'm going to put Kristen on the spot. Kristen, who's your pick for the weekend? Kristen said she wanted to go last, but I think Kristen went last week, so nah. So you got your snowflakes and stuff up. That's looking good.
Holiday. It's the holiday season. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to go with the Bears winning. Not by a lot. I'm going to go with, let's do 21-20. And I think it's going to be it might wind up being another come from behind.
Erotic one. Jeanette.
Let me preface this by saying that I'm a Bears fan till I die. I bleed blue and orange, but I'm also a realist. And I've been saying that the downward spiral is going to continue. And I'm going to say that again today. That downward spiral is going to continue. They're going to lose 27-17.
Damn.
Or somewhere close to.
So, Nagy kind of called out some guys, mentioned, playing with pride. And yeah, because there was not a lot of fucking pride shown.
That's his fault. I
mean, whatever. You know what I mean?
That's the coach's fault.
Their fault, whatever, it's like, whatever it is, the perception is that the defense really kind of laid down. Whether it was the coach's fault or their fault, whatever it is, that's the perception. And the defense knows that. They know that that's what the perception is. And at the end of the day, perception matters more than the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
They're going to come out like, all right, we're going to come out and kick their ass and see what Mitch does. You know, and
Nothing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he's done more than the other guy. So I'm going to pick the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears 17-10. Because
I hope you're right.
I'm looking for the return of Big 96 in the middle.
Hopefully.
Because that was major. That was major.
Every time he's out.
Yeah, that's major.
And he's out, and Eddie Goldman, and so that's another thing. Like, okay, he's gonna be hurt every year. He gets hurt every year. He plays hard. He plays through for as long as he can.
Big man.
You gotta find a suitable backup, because I mean it's so clear that he's the most important part of the defense when he's out. He's more important than Mac, everyone. Heart and soul.
You saw the whole thing fall apart without him. And you saw them kind of fall apart in that second half against the Raiders in London last year.
Yep. Wasn't that the beginning of
That was the beginning of a slide, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
And Mitch was hurt around that time. So
yeah, because what's his name? Chase Daniels was playing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So once again, and we're gonna say this every week: bear down.
Regardless.
Bear down.
I'm gonna say irregardless. Bear down.
Thumbs down.
Bears
a stinking thumbs down, but bear down.
Bear down. Stink down. All right. And that concludes another wonderful episode of the Chicago Clubhouse. My name is Emilio Bucks. On behalf of Kristen Petit and the notorious T. Nick, we bid you farewell. Enjoy your weekend, your COVID weekend, and bear down.
Next week.
My good finger, my favorite finger on my favorite hand.
Next week.
Next week what?
Oh,
let's talk about next week. T-Nick.
Terrence Metcalf.
We have
Terrence Metcalf.
We're going to keep it interesting regardless of what the team, even if the Bears don't keep it interesting, we're going to keep it interesting.
Right.
Metcalf in the building next week. Well, in his building, joining us in our buildings. So stay tuned for that. And thank you, Chicago.